Hello everyone, and today we're back into another top 5 video, and we're going to be talking about the top 5 Brawn Boost Loomians in all of Loomian Legacy. Brawn Boost is a move that can increase your melee attack to +2, and it makes your melee wall breakers hit extremely hard. So let's head right onto this top 5. Number 5 onto the list is actually going to be Swolder. Swolder is honestly a very solid Brawn Boost Loomian because it has a very high melee attack stat while having some very good coverage. I mean, it has Terrafly coverage, which is really good, an ability to make it so it's immune to toxic type attacks, and a decentish speed stat. Its speed stat, though, while being decent, is the reason why Swolder is number 5 and not higher. 65 speed is simply way too slow to use Swolder as a wall breaker. You could technically use Brawn Boost Swolder as a Bane of Haste Loomian, and it can definitely do some work. But the problem is, it takes 1 turn to set up Bane of Haste, 2 turns to take out your Bane of Haste Loomian, and then your 3rd turn the Brawn Boost, meaning that you only have 2 full turns to fully utilize your buffed up Swolder. So it doesn't really work that well. And then as a normal Swolder that can outspeed stuff with 65 speed, it does outspeed most tanks, but it doesn't do enough to absolutely outspeed everything, and that's why Swolder is number 5 on the list. It hits decently hard, you can even run Rejuvenate, and it actually does some work. I mean, it 2-shots an Obsidian on this clip, and Obsidian's really melee bulky. So it's not to say that Brawn Boost Swolder can't do work, but its low speed stat definitely keeps it at number 5 and not any higher, although it still deserves to be in the top 5 regardless. Number 4 onto the list is actually going to be Vocaloa. Vocaloa is really good with Brawn Boost. It has a way higher melee attack than Swolder. And while it can't get very brawny, it has way better coverage. And a way higher speed stat. 84 is a lot higher compared to 65. And you can actually outspeed a lot of stuff, which is good. With Brawn Boost, though, you cannot run specialty boots, so a lot of boots users do outspeed you. But the thing that makes Vocaloa really good is its really good coverage. Ice Water Stab isn't the greatest, but you do have Rogue Assault and Gnarly Gnash for coverage, so that is very good. And, sorry, Gnarly Gash. There's a lot of people in the comment section saying I say Gnarly Gnash and not Gnarly Gash. So, Gnarly Gash is the name of the move. Anyway, if you could set up a Brawn Boost, you can hit extremely hard, and that's what makes Vocaloa really scary. The problem is, and the reason why it's not in the top 3, is because just like Swolder, its speed stat is still a little bit too low, and it doesn't really have any priority that really helps it. But even then, it's bulky enough, has great coverage, and while its stab isn't good, its great coverage makes up for it. And that's why Vocaloa is number 4 on the list. Number 3 onto the list is actually going to be Vocaloa. Vocaloa is a really good late game cleaner, and it has Brawn Boost and Carolyn coverage, which is fantastic. Well, it has Carolyn coverage besides a brawler type move. Instead, you can utilize it with, a grass type move and an earth type move, which is awesome. Vocaloa has some amazing coverage, and it also has Brawn Boost, which makes it really good. And it has 102 speed, meaning that you actually outspeed a lot of threats. The biggest problem with Vocaloa, though, is that it pretty much needs the Brawn Boost in order to hit hard. Very good for Vocaloa, but if you don't use the Brawn Boost, it actually wouldn't even really hit that hard. In fact, it wouldn't even 2-shot a Himber with Blaze Punch. It wouldn't even 2-shot a Himber with Coconut Bomb, which is kind of insane to think about, considering that it is a super effective move. Even then, though, Vocaloa is still very scary, and if you have barbs on the field, and you can bring this in middle game to late game, this thing can be extremely, extremely threatening. Vocaloa definitely deserves to be in the top 3 because of its great coverage, really high speed stat, and still very solid attack. And that's why Vocaloa is number 3 on this list. But unfortunately, it cannot be higher. Number 2 onto the list is actually going to be Barbadger. Of course, Barbadger makes this list. I mean, it hits extremely hard, has a decent speed stat, has an ability that increases its damage by +1 if the opposing Loomian is a super effective move, and it actually can soak a couple hits on the melee side. And it also has an amazing offensive typing, Brawler Ice with Earth coverage. Yes, Barbadger is simply fantastic, and is one of the best wall breakers in the game. And with Brawn Boost, oh my goodness. Brawn Boost is simply fantastic. If you get your Barbadger on +3, it can pretty much one-shot anything in the entire game besides the really bulky melee tanks. And even then, you could still two-shot most of them. If an Obsidian swaps into you, you can take it out. If a Tundralin swaps into you, you can take it out. This thing is amazing. Mainly because of its amazing stab, amazing coverage, and the fact that it has a solid speed stat. It is lower than Akkolos's, so again, its speed stat is a little bit lower than it should, but it doesn't matter with Barbadger too much because it hits way too hard. And that's why Barbadger is number 2 on the list. But it just barely misses number 1. And there's one reason that it missed number 1. And we'll get to that in the next one. Number 1 on the list is actually going to be Mutagon. There is one reason why Mutagon is number 1 and not Barbadger. It has priority. It has Brawn Boost, Quick Punch priority. You get a Brawn Boost up, oh my gosh, this Mutagon can easily sweep you. And when I mean easily, it can easily sweep you as the tank and secret ability Mutagon. Brawn Boost, Quick Punch. One of the most overpowered combos in the entire game. And this thing has been overpowered for an extremely long time now. It makes sense why this thing is an uber. I mean, it deserves to be number 1. Like, the fact that if you have Brawn Boost and Quick Punch just makes it unstoppable. Because there's nothing else that can outspeed it besides those pesky spirit types. And even then, Mind types and Frost Punch can still hit those spirit types. Even then, they're not even completely safe. Mutagon is a force to be reckoned with. It's definitely still an uber, even with its nerfs. It even has some very cool range attacks, but that doesn't really help with Brawn Boost, so we're not talking about the range Mutagon in this video. We're mainly talking about the melee Mutagon with Brawn Boost, Quick Punch. And it's one of the most OP Loomians in the entire game, and it's definitely the best Brawn Boost Loomian in all of Loomian Legacy. And here it is, Mutagon, the best Brawn boosting Loomian in all of Loomian Legacy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If there's any Brawn boosting Loomians that I missed on the list, tell me in the comments below, because remember, everyone's opinions are different. That's the end of the video, and I will see y'all all later. Bye-bye!